Have you ever wondered how Machiavelli's philosophy, born from the tumultuous times of Renaissance Italy, might apply to your life in the 21st century? Welcome to the intriguing world of Niccolò Machiavelli, a man whose ideas continue to spark debate centuries after his death. Born in Florence, Italy during the High Renaissance, Machiavelli's philosophy was shaped by a time of great political upheaval, where city-states were constantly at war and rulers were routinely overthrown. Perhaps his most renowned work is The Prince, a treatise on political power and leadership. It was here that Machiavelli introduced the world to his pragmatic and, some would argue, ruthless approach to politics. His philosophy severs the tie between ethics and politics, suggesting that the pursuit of power often necessitates actions that defy conventional morality. In fact, Machiavelli's philosophy is often distilled into the phrase, "the end justifies the means." This means that if a goal is morally important enough, any method of achieving it is acceptable. It's a controversial idea, one that challenges our conventional understanding of right and wrong, and forces us to question whether the pursuit of power and success can ever be separated from moral responsibility. But Machiavelli's philosophy isn't just about power for power's sake. It's about understanding the realities of human nature and the world we live in. It's about accepting that people and societies are flawed, and that sometimes difficult decisions need to be made for the greater good. It's also about pragmatism, about making decisions based on what is rather than what should be. Machiavelli believed that leaders should be realistic, not idealistic, and that they should be willing to do whatever it takes to preserve their power and protect their people. Now that we've set the stage for Machiavelli's philosophy, let's delve into its nuances and how it compares to other philosophies. As we journey further into this exploration, we'll uncover the ways in which Machiavelli's philosophy can offer us valuable insights into our own lives and the world around us, even in the 21st century. So, stay tuned as we delve deeper into the mind of one of history's most influential political thinkers. Machiavelli's philosophy often stands in stark contrast to other well-known philosophies. But why? Let's dive in. When we compare Machiavelli with Aristotle, the differences are quite evident. Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, championed virtue ethics. He believed that a good life is one of virtue and moral excellence. The virtuous person, according to Aristotle, is one who strikes a balance between extremes, practicing moderation in all things. But Machiavelli? He would likely chuckle at such an idea. For him, it's not about virtue or moral excellence, but about practicality and the reality of human nature. Machiavelli believed that people, especially leaders, should do whatever is necessary to achieve their goals, even if it means straying from the path of virtue. Then we have Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher known for his deontological approach to ethics. Kant held that morality is determined by duty, and that actions are inherently right or wrong, regardless of their consequences. He argued that we should always act according to maxims that could be universal laws, a concept he called the categorical imperative. Now imagine Machiavelli's response to this. He'd likely shake his head. For Machiavelli, the ends often justify the means. It's not about universally applicable principles, but about the pragmatism of the situation at hand. His philosophy is inherently consequentialist, focusing on the outcomes of actions rather than their moral value. Finally, let's consider Thomas Hobbes, the English philosopher who proposed the social contract theory. Hobbes believed that in a state of nature, life is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. To escape this, individuals form a social contract, giving up some freedoms for protection and order. Yet again, Machiavelli takes a different stance. He argued that leaders should maintain power not through a social contract, but through fear if necessary. His philosophy is rooted in the harsh realities of power dynamics, focusing less on idealistic notions of societal agreements. In each of these comparisons, a common thread emerges. Machiavelli's philosophy is grounded in the gritty realism of human nature and the practicalities of power. It eschews the moral idealism of virtue ethics, the rigid principles of deontology, and the utopian visions of social contract theory. Instead, it embraces a pragmatic and often controversial approach to leadership and power. But before we label Machiavelli as a cynic or a pessimist, it's important to remember that he was a realist. He sought to explain the world as it is, not as it should be. His philosophy serves as a mirror reflecting the often uncomfortable truths about human nature and power. As we've seen, Machiavelli's philosophy is unique in its approach, but how does it hold relevance today? In a world far removed from Machiavelli's, can his philosophy still hold water? You'd be surprised to learn that despite the centuries that separate us from the Italian diplomat, his political philosophy remains relevant, even in our modern age. Let's start with politics. Machiavelli's ideas, particularly his advocacy for the pragmatic over the moral, resonate in today's realpolitik. His assertion that it's better for a leader to be feared than loved. This notion is still echoed in the corridors of power, where maintaining control is often prioritized over popularity. Moving on to the business world. Here, the Machiavellian principle of the ends justifying the means is seen in cutthroat competition and the relentless pursuit of profit. Machiavelli's advice about adaptability, about being as cunning as a fox and as fierce as a lion, can be seen in successful entrepreneurs who navigate the unpredictable seas of the market, changing strategies as needed to stay ahead. And what about personal relationships? While it might seem a stretch to apply Machiavellian principles to our interpersonal interactions, think about the times you've had to be diplomatic or strategic in dealing with difficult people or situations. These moments draw on Machiavelli's counsel to be adaptable and to carefully manage perceptions. Of course, it's important to acknowledge the controversial aspects of Machiavelli's philosophy. His approach can be seen as cold, calculating, even unethical. Critics argue that following such a philosophy can lead to a disregard for the rights and well-being of others, and there's a real danger there. But perhaps it's not about adopting Machiavellianism wholesale, but rather taking what's useful from it and tempering it with our own values and ethics. Machiavelli's philosophy, though controversial, offers a unique perspective on power and ethics, but how can it improve your life? Well, that's a question we'll tackle in the next scene, as we dive into practical ways to apply these principles. Stay tuned, and prepare to see the world through a Machiavellian lens. It's time to explore how Machiavelli's philosophy can offer insights for your personal and professional life. Machiavelli's philosophy hinges on the concepts of power, practicality, and realism. These concepts, when applied to your life, can have profound implications on your decision-making, career progression, and interpersonal relationships. Let's take the concept of power first. In the Machiavellian sense, power isn't about oppressing others. It's about understanding the dynamics of influence and using that knowledge to navigate the world around you. For instance, in your professional life, understanding the power structures within your workplace can help you make strategic decisions to advance your career. Similarly, in personal relationships, understanding power dynamics can help you communicate more effectively and resolve conflicts in a harmonious manner. Next, we have practicality. Machiavelli was a firm believer in being practical and focusing on the here and now, rather than indulging in idealistic fantasies. This doesn't mean you shouldn't dream or aspire for more. It means being grounded in reality when making decisions or planning for the future. For instance, if you're planning a career change, a practical approach would be to assess your skills, the market demand, and your financial situation before taking the leap. Finally, let's talk about realism. Machiavelli's philosophy encourages us to see the world for what it is, not what we wish it to be. This can be applied to various aspects of life, from managing expectations in relationships to making informed decisions in your career or personal life. Being a realist allows you to prepare for potential challenges and setbacks, thereby increasing your resilience and adaptability. So how can you use Machiavelli's philosophy for self-improvement? Start by acknowledging the power dynamics in your relationships and environments. Be practical in your decisions and aspirations. See the world with a realist's lens. These steps, although simple, can lead to profound changes in how you navigate your life. Machiavelli's philosophy, when understood and applied correctly, can indeed offer valuable insights for our lives. Today, we've journeyed through the intriguing world of Machiavelli's philosophy. We've discovered its unique essence, its realist approach that stands apart from other philosophies. We've delved into its principles of power, leadership, and the ends justifying the means, and how they contrast starkly with conventional moral and ethical norms. We've also explored its relevance in the modern world, finding echoes of Machiavellian thought in realms ranging from business strategy to political maneuvering. Moreover, we've seen how applying this philosophy to our own lives can provide us with a fresh perspective, enabling us to navigate challenges with a newfound pragmatism. In essence, we've uncovered a philosophy that's both compelling and controversial, one that invites us to question, to challenge, and to think differently. Remember, philosophy isn't just about understanding the world, it's about improving our lives. So, dare to delve into Machiavelli's world and see what it has to offer you. Leave comment what will be your first step to improve your life after watching this video.